This video is sponsored by Okiocam. The Okiocam is all about putting visualizers or document cameras in the hands of students. The best thing about one-to-one tutoring is the engagement that you can get from the students. A good tutor can give feedback and reshape tasks so that they're at exactly the right level for the students. But how do you do that if you're not sitting right next to them? And that's one of the challenges of all of this remote learning. Feedback, good feedback, can be incredibly motivating. And one of the biggest challenges about all of these school closures is giving accurate and detailed and useful feedback to students. I can imagine that for many students working away on their own at home while schools were closed, it was quite a lonely experience, and it may have been difficult to stay on top of that motivation. You know, when you're not understanding what you're doing, that can be incredibly demotivating. But when somebody's there to give you that little push to make you realize it's just one thing you're not getting and then you'll be fine, that can be incredibly motivating. So how do we deliver that when we're remote learning? So lately I've been reading this book, and it's all about how to get into and stay in that flow state where you feel like you're working at your very best. And that's what I suggest you need to be able to help your students achieve, to feel like they're getting the most out of your tutor sessions. It's proper psychology. And the author talks a lot about how motivating feedback can be, as long as it's instant and as long as it helps you improve. And that's what you can help your students do if you get them one of these, the Okiocam S. So my team in my school, we spent the first 3 months of this year just thinking about that one thing. How can we give that feedback so that students can keep moving forward, so the students don't lose that motivation? We were talking about how to break that digital barrier to deliver that personal feedback to keep that motivation up. Because you see, online teaching can be incredibly one way, and I spent a lot of time here feeling like I was just talking to the screen, not really knowing if students were really following what I was telling them. So I had to find ways to get feedback from the students and to give feedback for them immediately. That immediate feedback is crucial for keeping the motivation going. And we discovered many ways of doing that. There are digital whiteboards, Microsoft Teams, Microsoft Forms, loads of ways. But nothing was as good as actually seeing what the students were doing with the pen and paper in front of them. And that's where a system like the Okiocam T and S comes in. It's this one, the Okiocam S, which makes this system different from all of the other visualizers. See, this is designed to be given to the students, for them to be able to show their work back live as they're doing it and receive immediate feedback from you, their teacher or their tutor. It means that they can continue to work in a really natural way, in the same way that they're going to be working in exam. And you, as their online tutor, can actually watch them working real time and give them real time feedback on what they're doing. You see, naturally, when we're doing tutoring, we would be sitting right next to a student, watching them as they work, supporting them through every step. Being that voice to say, next thing to do is this, next thing to do is this. Oh, hang on a minute, are you sure you wanted to do that? That type of feedback is incredibly valuable because it helps the student develop those questioning processes of their own, and they learn to explain their way through problems in exactly the same way. So that is the best way to break down that digital wall between you and the students when you're doing remote tutoring. They'll feel like you're sitting next to them, giving them that feedback as they work. So I've been using these two visualizers for a few weeks now, and I really love the lightweight and portable nature of it. It takes moments to set up. In fact, in my unboxing and first thoughts video, I timed it 40 seconds to get this up on the screen displaying in the classroom. It's an incredibly useful device for hybrid learning because me as the teacher, I can be using the same system to teach in the classroom and display that exact same modeling home to students when they're having to self-isolate or remote learn. And in the future, visualizers will be so helpful for us delivering true, planned, blended learning. Thanks so much to Okiocam for sponsoring this video. Really means a lot to me to work with great brands like Okiocam. They're a brand that receives and works on the feedback that their customers give them. So if you have any questions about the system or feedback on it, leave it in the comments below, and I'm sure Okiocam will be looking at that. I think it's super important for us to be delivering lessons in a way for people who are having to self-isolate at home, which is actually similar to the experience that people are getting in schools. And the Okiocam system allows you to do that. But where I think this is really the future is making a visualizer which is at the right price point to actually equip students with that technology at home, so they can receive the feedback on what they are actually doing live and in real time. Thanks Okiocam for helping us break that digital wall.